Yeah, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Great to see you here. And I'm YQ, founder of Autonome. And today I'm going to show a little bit more on like sort of the latest platform we are building, and at the same time, also some new stuff upcoming for Autonome. And as a lot of you may know, that at Autonome we are building this kind of blockchain infrastructure as a service since 2021. We've been onboarding a lot of applications to provide like, sort of these rollups for them and AVSs for them. And since sort of October last year, we are focusing on this new verifiable agent hosting platform called Autonome. And we all know that either in like sort of this Web2 AI or in this kind of crypto AI, right? There are a lot of like sort of new models. Of course, we have this OpenAI and Anthropic Cloud, also Elon Musk's XAI, and also recently we have the DeepSeek. And beyond that, there are a lot of like sort of agents on top of them. For example, recently we got this Manus, right? It's super intelligent, can help us to really do some complex tasks. For example, can help us to write like sort of this blockchain application in just a few minutes, and help like to really call different like sort of sub agents to help to accomplish the task. And beyond that, as we all know, right? And when since day one, this crypto AI and also these very powerful large language models came out, right? We feel that probably in the future, that it may be this kind of AGI era, right? And we may have tons of millions of agents in the future. So in that case, like if these agents have their own like sort of mindset, like should they have like sort of their own identities? Should they have their own like sort of wallets and bank accounts? Like basically some like these kind of philosophy questions we want to ask, right? At the same time, if that's the future, naturally we'll see that, okay, if all the agent wants to have all this sovereignty and these sort of asset management, right? What's the natural fit for them? It's definitely blockchain. So that's why, like, since day one when ChatGPT launched, and a lot of these crypto companies, they're trying to figure out, okay, what's the best use cases we can have with like sort of crypto and AI. That's also something like just mentioned, right? Basically, we have like a bunch of the use cases we can have like on top of these crypto AI. But at the same time, we also know that even we have these large language models and also various agents and various frameworks, right? Like this LangChain and all different like these tools, right? But at the same time, what's the best way to build like crypto-focused AI agents? And what do we have like sort of like this permissionless or decentralized platform for people, especially the developers and builders, to launch these agents? And beyond that, how we, I mean, any platforms help them to distribute these agents to the users. These are a bunch of the missing pieces we have in crypto AI right now. So that's why, as I mentioned, right, as this blockchain infrastructure provider in this space for a long time, we want to address these sort of challenges we have in this crypto AI space. So since since the second half of the last year, we started to work on this new platform we call Autonome. Basically, it's a verifiable AI hosting platform. As you can see, it's basically most of the important issues we want to address is basically how we can help the developers to build, deploy, and also distribute these sort of agents. And if we look at like sort of the current status for the platform, you can just visit the website autonome.fun and just click a bunch of buttons, and you can launch like sort of your agent within a few minutes without hassle. You don't really need to build everything from scratch. You don't need to really understand what's going on in the backend. But at the same time, via this platform, Autonome, you can quickly launch the first verifiable agent as you want. Yeah, of course, like as I mentioned, right, the first thing is like when you want to launch an agent, right, you need a platform to deploy. So that's the first like sort of feature Autonome can provide, as I mentioned, right? You just click a bunch of buttons and choose like different parameters and options you have, and then you can deploy the agent. And beyond that, as I mentioned, another point, right? We want to help the developers and builders to distribute their agent frameworks. So far, we've been working closely with like sort of ELIZA team and also Coinbase agent kit team and Hyperbolic team, and to basically like have their agent frameworks on the platform by default. So any user can just click the buttons and launch these agents as you want. And beyond that, for the past few months, we also work closely with East Global and EigenLayer to run a bunch of hackathons, and we already onboard over 100 developers to upload all different agent frameworks. It can be some fork of this ELIZA or agent key, but it can also be some brand new agent frameworks developed by them. And then as you can see on the right top, right, it's basically you can upload whatever agent framework you develop and to the platform, and we will help you to distribute like sort of your agent platform to the users and the other builders. And as I mentioned, right, it's already live, and for all the developers, like you guys can just go to the website autonome.fun and use your Google account to log in. Either you can upload your fresh like sort of agent framework, or you can like deploy an agent using the existing agent framework. Another cool part that we are not just a pure like sort of hosting platform, right? We also help and collaborate with our partners to improve like some of the features like can meet the demands and requirements from the users. One thing, as you can see, right, for the ELIZA sort of agent, if you launch an ELIZA agent, connect to your Twitter account, and then naturally you will have this Twitter bot. And what we show you, like basically, first you can definitely chat with this agent, and via the chat box we provide. And beyond that, you can also ID these characters of the agent. At the same time, we also have this fine-tune feature. You can connect to different public Telegram sort of groups, and also follow a bunch of these Twitter accounts, and the model behind this agent can help like basically analyze this data, like for example the content, and also these kind of tweets from these follow like sort of accounts or channels, and give you the summary and sometimes also very decent gist. So in that case, it can regularly help you to post these very meaningful tweets on Twitter, and at the same time you can also control the frequency. So these are all the things already available on this Autonome platform, so you can just try it out. And beyond that, as I mentioned, right, we always welcome to collaborate with different users and developers to basically perfect these kind of agent platforms and also these agents. So these are the features as I show you, right? It's basically all these things you can do right now with either the ELIZA and some other agent frameworks we work closely with. Basically, you can follow all these different channels and agents, and it can generate the content based on the sort of the data from these followed agents, and also these Telegram channels. And beyond that, as we know, right, in crypto, we always want this kind of transparency, verifiability, and also decentralization for all the kind of products and platforms we build, right? And at Autonome, we also take this stuff seriously and put into considerations. So that's a part like we try to make all these sort of agents to be verifiable. And the cool part that we try to make sure like all the logic and data from this agent backend, right, are non-tampered from these external parties, including like sort of these hosted instances. So in that case, we work closely with our partners like Automata to basically leverage this trusted, secure environment to make sure like, okay, all these agent backend is basically hosted in this secure environment. So in that case, right, so all the data and also logic from this agent backend can be properly protected. And if you look at this entire sort of workflow, right, it's quite similar to ZK proof. It's just like we change the prover to this kind of, we call it TE prover, but actually it's the TE instance. But as we can see, right, regularly we need to have this attestation and generate the attestation report to show that, okay, this instance or this all this backend is still working fine and working properly without any like sort of external parties influence and interference. And beyond that, right, we also have the machine to basically submit this attestation report to on-chain, and the on-chain can do this verification to make sure like, okay, everything is properly verified on-chain. And beyond that, once we have this verifiability, right, we can address the problem, for example, this whether the XPT is run by a machine or run by a bunch of students, right? And but at the same time, we also want to make sure, okay, all the instances and all these agents can perform like sort of like very well. And sometimes you need to make sure everything happening within a short period of time, right? Instead of like sometimes the agent is online, sometimes it's offline, right? It's acceptable in Web 2, but it's not that acceptable in crypto because like we use a lot of these agents to handle some DeFi operations. For example, swap, and sometimes we do this asset management, right? And if we do this kind of perp, or sometimes like sort of we do this balancing across different these pools, right? It's very time sensitive. If there's a sudden crash from the market, and basically we have to really balance these sort of these different wallets immediately, and to avoid like sort of liquidation and other things. So in that case, in crypto, the agents like sort of is much more time sensitive compared to Web 2, because like when we ask a question and we just want the answers, like if the model give you answers within a few minutes, it's still fine, right? But for crypto, that's not possible. We still want it to be very like sort of on time. And so in that case, we are working with EigenLayer to basically leverage their AVS, and we create this new AVS called POS, and engaging with a bunch of decentralized operators to monitor like sort of the liveness and status of this agent. If anything is wrong, or sometimes it couldn't serve like sort of the users 24/7, and with any like sort of this glitch on the system, we can slash their stakes on Eigen. Beyond that, right, we all know that in the future, if we really imagine there will be tons of millions of agents, right? We want these agents to behave autonomously and probably finish some tasks themselves by communicating with each other, right? So in that case, we have our third component is called cross-agent routing system. So this system helps like sort of all the different agents to discover the other agents. For example, one agent in charge of like sort of this particular swap application, and some agents are like sort of in charge of this lending and borrowing, so they can talk to each other and basically discover each other to finish some tasks together. And the cool part, like all the communications is in this confidential like sort of environment. So in that case, you won't need to worry about like sort of all the secrets leaked to third parties. And beyond that, right, we already have all these cool like sort of features, like as I mentioned, right, verifiability, this kind of liveness from the POS AVS, and also this cross-agent routing protocol. And beyond that, what we are also working on is basically try to somehow kill the APIs. So we all know that there's a bunch of problems about these traditional APIs, right? There's version logs, and sometimes there's a lot of maintenance burden. Especially there's a lot of like sort of updates on the server side, database side, right? We need to update these APIs accordingly. And right now, like we have this new protocol called Model Context Protocol proposed by Anthropic. And it basically helps us, as you can see, right, to replace the very complex API calls with some human-readable sentence to directly call the MCP servers and to execute some tasks. So why this is so important? I just feel like if in the future if it's really like sort of the AGI future, I believe we have to change all the interfaces from these machine-readable interfaces like previous or the traditional API calls to something like these new standards like MCP. So in that case, there are a bunch of things we need to change. For example, we need to focus on intent over the concrete implementations. We need to focus like sort of these semantic parameters instead of like the old ways, like these very low-level APIs. And we also need to build applications mainly for adaptations instead of like just focusing like what kind of APIs can provide. So that's sort of like the things we are working on. Basically, we try to bring all these new standards and protocols into Autonome, and just try to make sure like it's not just for the existing builders and developers, but also for the future builders. So when they build this new era of applications, right, especially this AI application, they can also leverage this Autonome platform with the integration of all the latest protocols from this Web2 AI to build these very interesting crypto AI applications. And as I mentioned, right, everything is live, so you can just visit autonome.fun and scan the QR code. And yeah, that's all the presentation. Just feel free to try out what sort of we provide, and hope we can collaborate in the future. Thank you.